So I was Michelangelo, the artistic flow coming from STL mode. The legendary shows, I knew I'd be a star, but little did I know it wouldn't be from bars. See, that's the big league, the radar online. I wasn't the undefeated, but I still was gon' shine. I took a few L's, took them shots like Pop, but then I got my weight up like Jason Whitlock. Pivot like Brian Clark, skipping Bailey, Shannon Sharp. Don't have to scream like Stephen A to get my point across. Climb Jamel Hills, won carry championships. They were quick to pull the gun, hoping Rob would quit. But 15 years later, Rob still the shit. Rob still legit. Rob still on everyone's pound for pound list. Rob is courtside, Rob is ringside. Catch Rob outside at the 50-yard line. Don't act surprised, Rob is a winner. George Steinbrenner cooking up these headlines. What you want for dinner? The Black Sports Center, you know who I be. Triple OG, the Ohio State University. That's who reps me. I'm love for a friend. I just murdered this track, call that a dead spin. The headline king is back. You may remember Earl Thomas from the Legion of Boom, one of the better nicknames that I've heard for a defense in a very long time. Played the majority of his career in Seattle. Had a cup of coffee with the Ravens before, boom, he was out of the league because the NFL stands for not for long. This headlines with Robert Littal. If you're not a football fan, you may know Earl Thomas for the following story. His wife, Nina, caught him cheating on the Snap and the chats. I don't know how she got in, but she got the code or whatever. She looked in, saw that Earl had said he was going to meet up with his brother, but instead he was going to be meeting up with some Snapchat ladies at an Airbnb. So Nina got the posse up, got her girls with her, got the Nina with her, went over to the Airbnb, caught Earl and his brother having a foursome with the Snapchat models, pointed the gun at Earl while he was naked. They ran out of the Airbnb. He was naked. She had the gun. She claims that she thought the gun wasn't loaded, but come to find out, there was one in the chamber. Thankfully, nobody got shot. The police came and actually did an excellent job of de-escalating. Good for them. You don't see that a lot of times. Both of them ended up getting arrested. I think the case got pleaded to a couple of things. They got back together a couple of times. They broke up a couple of more times. And then they end up getting divorced. His house mysteriously caught on fire or blew up a couple of months ago. They claim it was, a natural disaster or something with the electrics or something. But, I don't know about that. Just seemed a little odd. But then everything was quiet on the Earl and Nina Thomas front until today. And normally I could tell you these stories right off the top of my head. I don't have a script or anything like that. I just kind of tell. But this is so intricate that I feel like I have to actually read the story to you for you to understand exactly what's going on. The premise of the story is that Nina Thompson's new boyfriend stole Earl's identity and basically was stealing money from him, stealing cars, stealing all type of stuff from him. But it went deeper than that. So I'm going to you can see the story on BSO, blacksportsonline.com. But I'm just going to read you some of this stuff because it's quite incredible. And when I read it back, I'm like, how did all this happen? But here we go. This feels like when you're in elementary school, you had to read to the class. It's been a long time since then. Okay, here we go. I have to read to you. Let me use my reading voice. Whew, okay. A New Orleans man pretended to be former NFL player Earl Thomas III in order to steal money from his bank accounts, cash his NFL checks, transfer ownership of several vehicles in a $1.9 million identity theft scheme, Jefferson Parish Sheriff Office investigators said. Kevin J. Thompson, 38, was arrested in June on charges of identity theft, forgery, money laundering, credit card fraud, computer fraud, bank fraud, says Sergeant Brandon Veal, a spokesperson for the sheriff's office. Thompson is in a relationship with Thomas's ex-wife, Nina Thompson, who is from New Orleans, according to authorities. He used a driver's license with a photo that had the NFL players' information to create a phony bank account and transfer vehicle titles, authorities said, including a blue Rolls-Royce Cullinan SUV he drove to the bank where he was arrested. After being released from jail, he tried to get the Rolls-Royce back from the sheriff's office, authorities said. But he arrived in a car reported stolen in Atlanta and was arrested again. Oh my God. Hold on, there's more. I'm gonna skip around a little bit. Thomas had a tumultuous breakup with Nina Thompson, including a 2020 incident where she was accused of holding him at gunpoint after she found him with another woman in Austin. Sheriff's office investigators said Thompson used a fake driver's license to open an account in Thomas's name at Jefferson Federal Credit Union in May 2022. Off topic, this is not me reading again. Credit unions are better than big banks most of the time. Going back to this. Over the next year, Thompson moved money from Thomas's accounts into the phony accounts. At least $700,000 was wired to the Jefferson Federal Credit account, the sheriff's office said. Thomas would then withdraw cash from the credit union, including a $50,000 withdrawal in May 2023. He is accused of depositing the players' NFL checks into fraudulent accounts. He also stole a large amount of money from the players' retirement account. But the scam wasn't limited to bank accounts, according to authorities. Thompson is accused of using a fake identity to transfer ownership of several vehicles owned, Veal said. Thompson then sold Thomas's vehicles, pocketed the cash, authorities said. It is not clear how Thompson got physical possession of the vehicles. I'm not reading again, but I have a pretty good idea how he got possession of the vehicles. Thomas Credit Union in Texas contacted officials at Jefferson Financial in June to notify them about suspicious activity. Management at the Jefferson Financial reached out to the sheriff's office on June 8 after they determined the person who opened the account was not Earl Thomas III. Yeah, Thompson is free on $730,000 bond. His attorney, Jeffrey Smith, declined to comment on Tuesday. It seems pretty clear to me, but I'm going to say allegedly that maybe his ex-wife was involved in some of these shenanigans. Now, someone on Twitter did point out to me maybe the guy Thompson was conning the ex-wife. Like maybe he was using her to get the information about Thomas to pull off his scam. So maybe she's an innocent victim. Use a victim. I like that. I like what that kid says.
You're a victim.
But I don't know. Maybe she didn't hold him at gunpoint. I would have thought maybe that she wasn't involved. But we'll see what the investigators find out. The real question is, how did Earl Thomas not know all this money was missing? I know he made a good amount of money while he was in the NFL, but $700,000, you gotta check your accounts on a regular basis, people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if you got, $700. Still check. Because one day you may go in there and you be like, I thought I had 7, but now I only see 5. And your cousin stole your identity and took some of your money. He set them up 5 bank accounts at the credit union. You don't know what's going on. Check your accounts. It is interesting, though, that he had all these vehicles that got transferred. But to me, that sounds like you're going through a divorce, right? Maybe your ex-wife has access to some of your vehicles in the divorce. And, because they got transferred to, you know what I mean? Like something's not quite copacetic with this story. There seems like it's going to be more, to it. It's kind of mind-boggling to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, watch your accounts. I guess you want to watch who your ex is dating. They could be a con artist. I wonder did he bail himself out with the money that he stole? That was kind of bold of him to try to get the car back that he acquired illegally in a stolen car. So I mean, it's not the world's smartest criminal that we're dealing with here. Oh my goodness. And then you wonder why the Ravens was like, yeah, we're done with here. Nia Long is trending right now with Young Jeezy. Young Jeezy has decided to get off of the Asian yacht and maybe back on the chocolate yacht. Young Jeezy said that real niggas don't cheat. Taking a shot at Ime Udoka for cheating with a married leprechaun Snowbunny with the Celtics. He ended up getting him fired. I believe she still has her job and she's still married. He was able to land on his feet with the Rockets. So I guess everybody lived happily ever after except Nia Long. A lot of people thought Jeezy was, taking his shot at Nia. I mean, it is Nia Long. And, he is getting divorced from that lady that said that black men were only good for sex. And when she was ready to get married, she'd find a white man, only now to find herself to be soon divorced. But the part that I want to talk about is the part where it says real niggas don't cheat. It's not even about real niggas. It's as much about like, do you actually like the person that you're with? And that crosses all genres and sexualities and races and religions. And if you actually enjoy the person that you're with, you actually care about the person that you're with, you actually like your family and everything, you wouldn't do anything to jeopardize that. So it's not even about real niggas. It's just about, do you actually like the person that you're with? And if you're happy in your relationship, you're not sleeping with, leprechaun snow bunnies. I mean, that's just a fact. So clearly something was going on with Ime and Nia that caused him to do that. And I'm not saying it as a justification. I'm just saying just common sense tells you that if everything was great and everybody was super happy, there's no way you would be, dealing with someone that looks like you got Nia Long, you're dealing with somebody that looks like a 4, 4 or 5, it just was somebody that was there and that was willing to do it. And then he ends up, getting snitched on and losing his job. So that's the key. It's not like complicated. You don't need to get saved by Yana and all of this stuff. You don't have to watch TikToks. You don't have to watch YouTubes. You don't have to read a bunch of books. You don't have to read 500 pages in a book about relationships. You don't have to do any of that. You like the person, you probably won't cheat. Pretty simple. You actually like the person and care about them and want them to stay around. They don't want to mess up. You don't cheat. It's pretty as simple as that. It's a really simple comment, thing. If you're out there doing other stuff, there's some underlying reason, for that. And I think that's what Jeezy was trying to get across is that if you were really into it, then you wouldn't do it. If there's other things going on that a lot of us, we wouldn't know, we don't know what's going on in people's relationship. And that's why you can't have quote unquote relationship goals. Then that's what happens. You end up with a leprechaun snowbunny. And then with a leprechaun snowbunny. Jordan Poole said he did not spend $500,000 on a date with Ice Spice, but it just reminded me of a story. So I'm not going to give any names, but I will give hints, and you should be able to figure this out. There was a NBA player. He was tall. That's a little hint. He was tall, and he really liked a young lady. I mean, he really liked a young lady, and he was being, he was rich. He's super rich, so he's giving her gifts, taking her to fancy dinners, buying her expensive jewelry. He's probably spent way over 6 figures, maybe close to 7 figures on this young lady, trying to, woo her. And then she kind of kept him at arm's reach. She would go out with him, but they were quote unquote friends. Even though he was splashing all of this money and everything, she was semi-famous herself. Maybe more than semi-famous. Let's yeah, I mean, she was famous. She wasn't Taylor Swift famous or Britney Spears famous or who else? She wasn't movie star famous, but she was famous. She was known in the streets. She was known in the streets. And he did all of this, and then she ended up dating his teammate for a good period of time too, until I think he cheated as well. Yeah. So the lesson there is money can't buy love. It can buy a lot of different things, but at least she didn't lead him on per se. I don't know if the teammate, spent as much or had to do as much. I actually know he didn't have to do as much. She just liked him better. So boy was out of, and like I said, these guys, the guy that I'm talking about has cleared over well over $100 million in his NBA career. So, it's like us losing $100 on a date or $200 on a date or whatever it may be, only to see them go, with somebody else. But I thought that was interesting. That's how it doesn't matter who you are. If she doesn't like you, there's not much you can do. And I wouldn't say she disliked him. Just liked his teammate better. Carmelo Anthony said they asked, Complex asked Carmelo, does it bother him that he doesn't have a ring? And Carmelo, honestly, and I think you say you're more honest when you're older and you're retired. Say, no, it doesn't bother him at all because he's about that bag. He said in the 90s, they were about ring culture. He says in his era, which I guess would be the 2000s, the 2000s to the 2020s. I think LeBron's the only one left. So was it 2003 to 2000 and maybe 20, I think is when they all start retiring and stuff. Like LeBron and kind of Chris Paul sound the only ones left around that time. They said they was about to bag. He was about to bag. And it's true because I don't have it all in front of me, but I can give you some Cliff Notes versions. First off, D-Wade, LeBron told Carmelo to take a shorter rookie extension so he could become a free agent so they could team up, at a certain time. But Carmelo said, no, I want all my money. So he took the full rookie extension to make sure he got all of his money from the possible amount of money he can get. That's when he was with the Nuggets for his extension. Then he could have became a free agent. He wanted to go to the Knicks. He could have became a free agent, but he would have to take less to go to the Knicks. But the caveat is they would have been able to keep a lot of the pieces that they had already had on the team. Therefore, the team would have been better. But no. Carmelo wanted all of his money, and the only way he would get all of his money is if he was traded from the Nuggets to the Knicks, and then therefore they could give him a max extension because they would have his rights. So the Knicks ended up having to trade a lot of pieces to the Nuggets, and then therefore that hurt their ability to be good. There was another time, I believe, that Carmelo was once again coming up for free agency. A lot of people thought at that time he should go to the Rockets. The Rockets were trying to build a little super team around that time. They had James Harden. I think they did Dwight Howard. And a lot of people thought Carmelo would fit in well with that squad. At that point, the Knicks were not great, the Phil Jackson era. But instead, he stayed with the Knicks, got his max contract, got every single dollar that was available to him, and obviously that didn't work out. So within his career, he's always chosen the money. And I want to point something out to you. That's fine. This is not a correct or incorrect way of going. This is a personal thing. If you want to take less to try to win more, that's great. If you don't, that's also great. It's your career. You control your career. So it's a debatable point. It's something you can argue about. But in the end, there's no wrong answer for what someone does for their career. You can say other players decided to take less. Maybe it worked out. Maybe it didn't. He went to a certain location. And like I said, Dwight Howard went to the The Rockets, that didn't work out. It didn't work out really anywhere with Dwight until he went to the Lakers and they got that bubble ring. So you can't say that it would have, even if he did it differently and he ended up taking $60 million less, there's no guarantee he would have won a ring. But you can guarantee he wouldn't have the $60 million. You see what I'm saying? So, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, I don't know about that. You should care about winning. Winning is great. And there is a theory that the more you win, the more money you will make on the back end for that. How much would Draymond Green have earned if he wasn't with the Warriors? Maybe same with Klay Thompson. Maybe you gotta look at it, maybe a cumulative thing, Steph and all that. How much would they make? You gotta also understand, and then there's also smaller examples of when a player is on a championship team, maybe he's not at the player level of Carmelo Anthony, but you take someone like Bruce Brown, who was with the Nuggets, and he gets $20, $30 million to go to the Pacers. He doesn't get that if Jokic is not putting up a triple-double every night. And that's not saying he didn't contribute. He obviously contributed. He made the game-winning shot in the NBA Finals, and he made a lot of clutch plays during that playoff run. But if he was on the Pistons, he wouldn't have got that money. And so there's an argument for that. Like I said, it's debatable points. It's barbershop talk. It's water cooler talk. But in the end, the individual has to make the decision, because somebody can say, hey, Bruce Brown should have stayed on the Nuggets, took $7 million, maybe they three-peat or whatever, and all of this stuff, maybe some more endorsements. It's a lot of different ways you can look at it. But it's an individual decision. And especially as a Black person, should never criticize a Black person for taking as much money as he possibly can, because we don't have generational wealth. So if Carmelo can help his bloodline for the next 100 years because he took an extra $60 million, more power to him. More power to him. Shout out to the IBFP, Facts Not Feelings. Is a great boxing channel for you to watch on YouTube. Once again, it's not sponsored. These are just actual people that I actually like to, and I actually do watch. You can check out his boxing channel, IBFP. Really funny stuff, especially when he goes live. If you're a Canelo Alvarez fan, you definitely want to check him out. You check out Ring IQ with Julius. That's a good one as well. Even though they don't all get along, I do watch them all. They kind of all infight, but they all have interesting, perspectives. So IBFP, Ring IQ, Showbiz, The Adult, Champ Side, Blue Blood Sports, Fanon. There's a couple others I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, boxing YouTube, Sean Zytel with Fight Hub TV, Fight Hype as well. What is the IFL TV? I think that's the one in the UK. They're good. Radio Raheem. There's a lot of good, interesting boxers. A lot of personality in the boxing YouTube world. I really enjoy watching their YouTube channels. And to be honest, they are the ones that are keeping boxing in the mainstream. They're the ones that are doing a lot of the promotion, especially for fighters that you may not know if you watch. Ellie Setback. I like Ellie. Ellie goes in. A lot of the fighters, before they become big, Ellie talks to them. I remember Ellie put me on the Virgil Ortiz, Morataya, who fought like last weekend. He gets a lot of insight talking to Robert Garcia. He gets a lot of interviews with guys and everything. So all of these guys are, even though sometimes they don't all get along, they do give boxing a little boost, and they makes it interesting. So check out any of those channels. I'm out. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube channel, BSO TV, you know where to find me on all the other spots. Have a good one. Be safe out there.